Hi, it's Georgia here with another tutorial for our June 2020 art retreat being hosted through my Facebook group God's Refrigerator. We're talking about and creating shakers this month, which is quite interesting because I have never really made shakers. I've made one shaker card before all of this. So I'm learning at the same time as you. We made a very, very quick cheats shaker pouch in my last tutorial, and today we're going to make little shaker cards. I'm using them, I'm calling them cards. They're not cards as in, you know, a greeting card type of card, though you can use it. You can then stick what we're making onto a card or onto something else. I sort of have something else in mind at the moment, but not quite sure. So what we're making really is just a little shaker, for want of a better word. So I have cut out this little cut apart from the Echo Park Forward with Faith collection kit. I've covered all the bits up. This is it here. Some really, really lovely papers in this kit, and one of the pages is a 3x4. Yeah, 3x4 cut aparts. And I thought this one here would be absolutely perfect for a shaker. What do you think? So I've kind of got all the bits and pieces ready so that you don't have to watch me do all the boring stuff. So just clearing this space up a little bit. So what I've done is I have cut out the cut apart, which is going to be the base of my shaker. I then have cut out a frame. Now, if you are fortunate enough to have a set of nesting dies that happen to be the same shape and size as your base, fantastic, hooray for you. You'll be really happy about that. I don't, so what I did is I cut a square the same size as my cut apart, and then did the old-fashioned on the back so that I wouldn't get any marks on the front. On the back, measured off my frame and cut the inside just with my my craft knife. Beware, you're going to need, if you're using foam tape to create your dimension, make sure you cut the frame wide enough to cover the tape. This is the second frame that I cut. Enough said. Okay, and I really need to stop saying all the time. It annoys me when I listen to people on TV going and here I am, every second word is Now I've pulled out my packet of acetate sheets, and I really thought I had so much more than this, and I don't. I barely have enough for this project. I've got these little offcuts, so I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with later projects, because there is absolutely nowhere that I can get this stuff quickly enough. So we'll see what happens. Now what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to take off the protective cover. These sheets have protective covering front and back to stop them getting scratched. So I pull these off, and of course we talked about static last time around. Just pulling that off, those plastic sheets off has already created so much static, I'm sure. Now what I'm going to do is turn this around onto the back side, and I'm just going to, with some double-sided tape, because I really don't know, and I actually don't imagine that it would be very happy with wet glue, the acetate sheet that is. I've never tried to stick an acetate sheet with wet glue. And seeing that's my last usable sized sheet, I'm not playing guinea pig this time. I know I often do. I'm always happy to play guinea pig, but I think today we'll just play it safe. I'm just peeling that off. No mistakes allowed today. This is it. If this doesn't work, oops. So I'll just grab my sheet here. That's overlapping a bit, but that's okay. I'll fix that later with a pair of scissors. So that's the frame that's going to go on top. But what we need is a bit of dimension so that we have a space that we can fill with shakers. So this is where the foam mounting tape comes in. You don't have to use this. You could cut a series of frames the same size with thick cardstock, maybe 3, 4, 5 layers, and stick them all one on top of the other to give it some height. If you have some craft foam, it generally comes in a sheet like this. You could cut a layer or two of craft foam and use that. But because I happen to have the double-sided foam tape, I am going to take the easy way. I'm getting that right up against the outer edge. Isn't this exciting? Watching Georgia put tape on her piece of paper. You can fast forward this bit, or walk out of the room, make a cup of tea. I'll call you when you need to come back. Okay, come back everyone. So I have this, oh no, this was actually a Christmas mix of sequins and shaker bits, and there were lots and lots of reindeers, and I thought I picked all of them out, but one managed to stay in there. So pull that out, because I don't want reindeers in this. It's not quite the theme that I'm going for. So I am going to pour those into the center here until I think I have enough. I don't think I'm going to use all of them actually. Keep some for another time, because I'm going to use also some of this Nuvo crystal circles that I used in the last project, because I like them. They're very pretty. Put a few of those down. Spread them a bit so it's nice and flat. Now, most important thing, especially for me, is to anti-static the back of this acetate. So I'm just using my anti-static pouch, because the last thing I want is static disaster. So then I pull this protective backing off the tape. And and then very carefully line it up. Here goes nothing. Because once this is down, and that's it. Right. I can see the foam here. We're going to have to do something about that. Oh, look, it's so crooked, so incredibly crooked. Like I said, well, this is the third shaker project in my whole life, so, excuse me there. But, at least I don't have a static problem. Look, I can shake it around. And what I can do now is these bits on the edges, I can just fix them up with a pair of scissors. And that one there. Not too worried about the straightness, because I am going to do something with this eventually. But you'll have to come over to my Facebook group to see, because it's not going to make the video. There's a little bit here, I can see the foam sticking through, which is kind of annoying me. So what I might do is grab something. Okay, so I had a look at a couple of things. At first I thought I might stick some gem pearls on the outside, but then I thought, no, there's already enough bling inside. So I've grabbed my sticker booklet from Simple Stories. I can't remember the name of this collection. Faith. The Faith collection. It's kind of old. Don't know if it's still around. And there is a sticker here that just says Shine. And I thought might be perfect in sentiment and size. But it looks a little bit white, like that. I'm just going to give it just a little bit of distressing on the outside so it's not so stark. This is kind of close enough colour to the background there. And I'll stick that down here. And that hides my boo. And there you go, a very simple, quick and easy little shaker pocket that you can stick on the card. See, I've got a little bit of a static thing going on, and you know what it is? It's this stuff, because it gets so staticky as it rolls out of the plastic bottle. I should have put it onto a tray and anti-static, but hopefully over time it will lose its charge, because it was okay when we started. There you go, it's starting to behave. So lovely pocket. You could stick this, you could actually make a card and stick that on the front. You could, if you wanted to. Here's a crazy idea. This is the sort of thing I would do. You could actually stick it on the front of your Bible and have a little shaker Bible. But I actually have a plan for this. For once I have a plan. It's not going to make the video, I don't think, because I'm not making it just yet. But it will certainly make the Facebook group when I finally get the bits I need to finish this off. I will post the finished project on the Facebook group. In the meantime, you have a little pocket. You can use it for so many different things. You can just have it on your desk and just play with it when you need inspiration. You know, use anything for the background. It doesn't have to be a cut apart like me. You could just use a plain card. You could stamp, ink, draw something. You could write out your favourite verse. Lots of things you can do. So, yeah, hope you'll join us. And if you want to join in the retreat, it's running from the 18th to the 22nd of June in my Facebook group, God's Refrigerator. We run the retreats once a month. Lots of fun. Come and join us. Okay, and welcome to part 2 of our little shaker card thing tutorial. Once again, this is brand new for me, so I'm learning at the same time as you are. So what I'm doing is something similar to the last shaker we made, but using a shape. And I think I sort of have a plan of what I want to do here. Whether or not that works out, we'll see. But so if you happen to have a set of nesting dies, this would be a really great project for you. If you don't, I'd probably skip it unless you're a very confident cutter or you want to make yourself a template. I'm not even going there. It's just, yeah, too hard for my brain to comprehend. So I have these heart nesting dies from Kaiser Craft, and I am going to use the second and third smallest ones because the thing I want to make, I want to be kind of small. So if you can imagine the two dies together will give you the frame and the center bit will be the shaker. So yeah, it's kind of small, but I want something small. So the first thing I'm going to do is just use the larger shape to cut my background. And when you see this paper, some of you might guess what I'm up to or what I want to use this for. So I'm going to place it here so I've got little birdies in my heart. And I'm just going to, yeah, I use a metal shim because these really thin dies, they never cut well enough for my liking. I already have to stick them through the Big Shot 3, 4, 5, 67 times. So just put that through a couple of times. And I can hear Kath getting all excited, going, yes. Kath has a new die cutting machine. Kath's got the gigantic big brother of this little Big Shot. I hope you're going to have a lot of fun with your dies. And so here we go. So here's my background done. Okay, now what I want to do is cut out a frame shape with these hearts. I want to cut a coloured frame to go over the top of the shaker, and then I want some layers. I'm going to cut a whole bunch of cardstock frames, which I will then layer to give it the dimension. So what I'm going to do is, the important thing is to have the two dies that make the frame not move between all the cuttings, because otherwise, you know, the frames won't align. Now there are a lot of different ways of doing that. Some people will use washi tape, so you can stick them down with washi. But be aware, if you do that, the dies will cut the washi while you're die cutting. So you might want to, just trying to think of the best way to do that. I'm thinking, we'll put, let's put some comments below. Best way of sticking your dies if you're using washi tape, so that you can take your die cut out and do another one without them moving, because the dies will cut the washi tape, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I have come across, in my stash of course, the Sizzix sticky grid sheets, and I don't know if I'm about to use it for the right purpose, but I just thought this would work really well for this sort of thing. What they are is basically a double-sided sticky, not as sticky as double-sided tape, so I'm not going to have the horror of having to clean it up, but sticky enough so that I can stick it down on my plate. See, like, it's not very sticky, so it will come off quite easily. And then I'm putting these with the cutting side up. That way they won't cut through the sheet. So I can use it over and over again and the hearts won't move. So I'm just lining them up to make a frame. And then what I will do, and I'll turn the camera off because it'll be so boring, is I'm going to cut a bunch of them with black cardstock to do the in-between dimension bit. And then I'm going to choose a colour, not sure what yet, and just do one as the frame on top of the acetate. So I'll be back in a second once those are cut. Great, so I've put the Big Shot away. I'm trying very hard to keep a tidy craft space. Very difficult to do. So what I've done is I have cut the outer frame out of this pink from the same collection as the papers, this pink design, so that's going to go on the outside, and I have cut 6 of the frames in just black cardstock, and I've also used the large heart to cut a piece of acetate. Mustn't forget that, because otherwise our shaker is not going to work. So what I'm going to do now is, if you can imagine, and Lara, this will interest you because we were talking about using foam and other things. If you don't have, when you're making your other shakers, just the plain square one that we did before, if you don't have the foam tape, if you don't have any foam that you can stick in and layer, cut heaps and heaps of just cardstock shapes, because when you line them up or when you put them one on top of the other, you'll get that thickness. So I just have 6 of them here, and that's thick enough for me. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to glue them onto the heart, layer upon layer. Then I am going to, I know I said in the previous part of this tutorial that I did not think acetate was going to like wet glue, but I am not going to do this with double-sided tape. It sounds like a nightmare. So I'm going to be the guinea pig here and try wet glue on the acetate. So I'll then stick the acetate down, and I will then stick the outside frame. Actually, I won't. I'm not going to stick the acetate down. I'm just going to stick the frame to the acetate. I'm not going to stick it down because we need to fill it. Just realised how idiotic that was. Okay, so I'm going to stick all those together. I'm going to stick these two, and then I'll come back. Now my glue is all dry, and look, yippee, it worked really well with the acetate. So disclaimer, this is the glue that I used, Art Glitter brand. I don't guarantee that your liquid glue will work, so if in doubt, maybe do a test somewhere first before doing it on your actual shaker, just in case. This is not the best piece of acetate. It's a little bit scuffed. I had to go out and buy a packet of this packet of cupcake liners and toppers because it had an acetate sheet. Because as I said in the previous part of this video, I ran out of acetate, and to have it actually delivered, if I bought it online, would have got here way too late for the retreat. So I went out shopping this morning. Oh, what could I get? What can I get? I'm looking around everywhere, and I saw those cupcake liners. I went, yay, fantastic! So this acetate is from the cupcake liners. So it's not perfect because it hasn't been protected, but it will do. And that's the layers of the cardstock. Using this method actually gives it a nicer finish than the foam tape, because the foam tape, you get that kind of ugliness on the side. So unless you're doing something with it, you'll always see that. I might actually I've been thinking of putting a thin layer of something like gold Nouveau crystal drops or something of the sort, just to seal it and give it a nice finish. But we'll see. I just keep picking this up and playing with it on my desk. It might just stay on my desk as just a toy because I like it. But yeah, if you're using cardstock like this, the finish is a lot neater. And I'll take that background away. I don't know if you can see that real well. It just looks nicer. So I'm going to, maybe I'll take this away. I'm going to put a little bit of shaker mix in here. Now, I'll do this before I forget, because otherwise I'll forget and it will be bad. A bit of the anti-static stuff, a lot of the anti-static stuff. I've decided I am never, ever again using these Nouveau things as shakers because they gave me so much trouble in the other one. So what I'm using today in this one is I have this shaker mix that was made by a friend, and it's actually a Christmas mix. But what I've done is I've put some into my tray, and I've taken out most of the bigger sequins, and I've taken out I don't know if you can see it there. There are snowflakes in there. I've taken those out as well. I like this mix because there's some really, really tiny bits in it. I'm not going to use all of that. It's way too much. I only want a little bit because it is quite a small space, but I take those out. I want the little stuff. I want the teeny weeny stars. This is going to be fun, isn't it? I should have picked them all out. Here we go. I want a couple in there maybe just for interest, but I want mostly the teeny weeny ones because they're really, really pretty. So shake those out. And then if I pick out a couple of those big ones, just leave 2 or 3 in there. That will be enough for me, I think. So what I'll then do is so I'm going to put some glue on the outside. And if you can hear my dog snoring in the background, I apologise on her behalf. This is the time of night when she starts the snoring. And line that up really quickly because this glue does dry quite fast. And we'll just give that a minute to dry. Right, glue is dry and I have another shaker toy. We're just making toys this retreat. So this is kind of quite cute. I don't know how much glare there is. I'm really sorry if it's completely glary. So there you go. You can see little birdies and the shaker mixes around. Now what I'm going to do with this one is, this was my plan. It's completely insane, but that's me. The marker ribbon that I have in my Bible here, I'm going to simply attach it. If I was smart, if I actually thought things through, I might have stuck it in between the layers of cardstock there, but of course I don't think that far ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just glue it on the back, and then I will, you know what I will do? I will cut out another heart and then stick that on top so that I will, in the end, it will look like this at the back, but the ribbon will be attached, and then when the book is closed, I'll have this dangly little shaker, which I can, of course, you know, keep inside the page for neatness, or when I'm traveling so that it doesn't get damaged. Otherwise, it'll be hanging out like this. And you know, when you're journaling away and you're trying to think of what you want to do or paint or say, it's good on thinking. You can play thinking music. So yeah, okay, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you'll give it a go. It is a lot of fun and it is quite addictive because, yeah, so this is number 4 shaker thing ever in my life that I have made, and I'm starting to become a bit of a shaker girl, I think. So there we go. Once again, this was a tutorial for the June 2020 retreat run through my Facebook group, God's Refrigerator. Please come and join us. We have a retreat every month and we have lots of fun doing all sorts of faith creative activities. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. Catch you in the next one. Bye.